So there's people use the term software as a service model,
Yeah.
modern age. What does that actually mean? Are you sort of saying that you're not selling mainframes, you're not selling 30-year-old technology, you guys built this thing from scratch, right?
That's right. In 2010, we opened up a new development project and let's build a modern platform. What would it look like nowadays with the sort of cloud technology you have, with the APIs? What does a modern software and what does a service mean? And that means...
So why is it important, and why did you guys feel the need to do that? Because a lot of people say, but I've already got a mobile app. I've already got an iPad app. Like, I don't know if I can do an Alexa app with my old core system. What's the difference that really starting again gave you?
It lets you create a modern architecture, which for us is basically a service-driven API integrated architecture, which means the differentiator, for instance, is not necessarily in the mobile app, because who knows what the mobile experience is going to look like in a couple of years, right? It's about the products and the services and the way you can automate the whole entire business. And that means you need to have your whole entire business effectively ideally driven by APIs, such as you can plug and play different systems together. If there's a new channel to the customers, a new payment gateway, you can plug that in very easily. You don't have to rewrite the whole entire thing to launch a new product or change some pricing rules. You have things which you can do much quicker.
So what sort of timeline are you talking about to change pricing rules to launch a new product versus what you would expect traditionally?
Within the Mambu platform, to define a new product is something you could do in literally minutes. But when you talk about end-to-end, it's something that you can do in a week or two. I mean, because all you have to do is create a new product or change new pricing rules within Mambu. You might have new API endpoints. You might want to change a little bit of the business logic of how you do pricing. Any developer that's worked even on a Facebook app can do that. You don't need 10 consultants to run that for you. So you're changing the time of innovation and time to change of products down from multiple months and hundreds of thousands of dollars to days or weeks.
So when somebody says to you, that's great, but I've got millions of customers on my existing system, there's all kinds of plumbing into all kinds of other different systems. What do you say to that? How do you sell them the benefits of moving away from that tried and trusted and true system that they know hasn't fallen over that often in the last 20 years?
Yeah, and I think that's great. And the system they have has been terrific for what it was built up for the age it was built in. But I think what we suggest organizations that want to move to this space is we don't encourage them to go for a full-on sort of transformation project, because those are very risky and they take a very long time. It can be very expensive to actually execute just from a cost perspective. What we encourage them to do is to look for markets which they're not particularly strong in or which they think are very lucrative or strategically important. This could be geographic markets or markets which within their current geography they're not serving very well, whether it's millennials or SME lending or whatever the market is. Find an area which they think is an area of growth or strategic importance for them down the road, and find a way to build something modern to address that market opportunity, and a way to kind of bring the technological and operational excellence of a service-based architecture and modern cloud technology into the business and still achieve a business case rather than a proof of concept.
So there's something that I think is quite interesting, the idea that it's almost the dirty secret of banking that digital transformation doesn't work. Like it costs too much, it never delivers.
Yeah.
So what you're proposing is an alternative.
Right.
And I guess that alternative could stand up on its own business case because I guess what your economics are different because you're cloud native and you're really looking at it scales with the number of users. Like what's the difference with doing it the way you suggest from an economic perspective and a risk perspective versus doing it the old-fashioned way?
Well, I think with the old-fashioned way, you know that before you even get off of the gates, so you're already going to be at a back heel to any other either fintech or bank that builds on a modern architecture, because they'll be moving in the market months faster than you are. Every time you think of a new product or you want to change your value proposition or your customer experience, you're going to be spending 6-12 months doing that. Everyone else can be able to do that, doing it much faster. So taking that sort of approach already basically means you're not actually looking to the future. You're not looking at who you're going to be your relevant competitors in the next couple of years. You're looking at who were the competitors in the past. So right away, you're kind of already on the back heel, basically.
Yeah, if you're looking towards the past, you'll achieve the results from the past. If you're looking into the future, you can do new things with flexible architectures. So can you give me some examples of where you guys have done this before and where it succeeded?
Yeah, sure. I wish I could name a few names, but hopefully we'll do that by the end of the year. But for instance, we're working with a very large telco, for instance, right now, that's had a very large customer base, almost 50 million subscribers, and they wanted to launch financial products for there. Started a new banking subsidiary effectively and looking at lending and deposit products. We have another tier 1 bank here in Europe that again, saw an opportunity in SME lending in Europe, which they were not really addressing very well. And they built an online first, mostly automated lending business focused entirely on SME, run it as a completely separate subsidiary. Team is completely independent from the rest of the bank. Operations are independent, and the technology they use is obviously independent as well, using us as a platform. And there's another dozen or so prospects and projects that we have in the pipeline, which are all sort of similar, about large institutions that see market opportunity niches which they want to address, and they want to build up not just a new technology stack, but a new operating model to support it. So it's the two things that have to go hand in hand. If you put a new technology stack with an old operating model, that also doesn't work as well.
And when you talk about new operating model, is that new ways of thinking as well as new ways of working? And what might those be? Is there a cultural bit here?
It's partially cultural. It's about being able to being a relatively agile organization as much as a financial institution can be. About how you're thinking about your products, your customers. It's about the processes. Also, what things are you automating? What is manual? Some things should be manual, but what should that be? So you're redesigning some of the processes and the workflows, and you're looking for technology where it can help you do the low value stuff quicker and cheaper, and where you then focus your people resources on the things that really differentiates the market, the customer experience, the pricing, the credit scoring, the branding, other elements, and you're trying to create an organization and process that supports those things and doesn't put tons of resources on the stuff that doesn't add any value, like mainframes and so forth. Yeah.